You've got to shoes this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoes it.
I don't know, Gucci, probably.
But frankly, I don't like the look of what you've got out the back of your window there.
The ferry was like being at the school playground for an hour and a half.
Was she dancing on tables?
Going Banff.
Oh,
Spectacular Icefields Parkway between Lake Louise and Jasper.
International Ski Patrollers Day.
I only went heli skiing.
4 meters high. So, hi and welcome to the 17th episode of the Whiteout Podcast. I'm Dom Killinger, I'm publisher in the snow, and I'm here with my trusty co-host in a very nice background, Rob, if you don't mind me saying. It's Rob Stewart, the person that seems to be hitting the ski slopes every day right now. Every picture I see, you're on the slopes, Rob. So I'm not going to make any grand introductions this week. But frankly, I don't like the look of what you've got out the back of your window there.
Well, firstly, yes, I have got some nice snow behind me, but you've just returned from British Columbia, Revelstoke, in fact, one of the resorts on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have been there, but I only went heli skiing.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like you, Rob. Yeah, I've been there, but I only went heli skiing, obviously.
Just saying. But anyway, how was it? How was Revelstoke?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Revelstoke. I did Sun Peaks and Revelstoke. Revelstoke,
Okay.
as you probably know, split into two sort of areas, really. You've got the Revelstoke Mountain Resort and you've got the Revelstoke Town. So, yeah, it's pretty good. We stayed at the resort area. So, nice, massive, great sort of hotel complex down there with spa and jacuzzi and a few restaurants at the bottom of the mountain with sort of main gondola that goes up into the ski area. So yeah, it's pretty nice actually. It's a proper skier's mountain. But actually, I went there sort of thinking, right, this is just going to be the sort of steep and deep and the big powder stuff. But actually, that probably suit a lot of improver skiers, to be honest with you. Some really nice terrain there for people who, there is a little bit of beginner's terrain, but that's not really at all what they cater for. But actually, for improver skiers, it was actually quite a nice little area. Big 15-kilometer cruisy green that goes top to bottom because they've got the biggest vertical in North America, as I heard many times while I was there.
Yes.
So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed in the town.
Yeah.
Which, I didn't see the ski area, unfortunately, when I was there. So I do need to go back. But there seemed to be loads of great restaurants and a really good vibe going on.
Yeah, definitely it is. I suppose it's got that sort of more, I suppose I'd liken it a little bit to Banff, the town. Probably not quite as going on as Banff, but still pretty nice. Loads of sort of bars, restaurants, cocktail bars. If you stay at that sort of resort centre, it is a little bit quieter in the evenings. You probably do want to go into town. There is a free shuttles, as I say. So yeah, it was good. I liked it. I thought it was really nice. So where are you then, Rob? Come on, spill the beans. I know you're only asking about my holiday, so I ask about yours.
Fair enough. Well, I'm in Courchevel 1650, staying with SkiWeekends actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great chalet here. It's not, it's right in the middle of 1650. It's not kind of super silly in regards to cost.
Okay.
Or sort of bling, like you might expect at Courchevel. It's just a good, decent chalet. I mean, fantastic views actually out the front and very comfortable.
Yeah.
What I also got here, I travelled on Snow Express, which
Oh,
is
okay.
the coach from London. It's half-term week, right?
Yeah.
Flights were crazy. I did this pretty last minute. There was space on Snow Express. I mean, it was a long journey, but actually it was fine. You just sit there, used to driving, and so I thought, well, just sitting on the coach can't be too bad. And it wasn't. It was pretty good. I mean, it was a long journey. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But, we arrived. We slept on the bus, on the coach, I should say, overnight, and all good. We are going back on the coach tomorrow. So, but again,
I guess I reckon that's pretty nice. I mean, do they do that on the, is that go on the ferry or does it go on the Eurotunnel?
We went on the ferry. The ferry.
Okay.
The ferry was a bit, let's just say the ferry was like being at the school playground for an hour and a half. It was just full of kids. But, it's just an hour and a bit. And we were off the other side. So,
pretty good.
Courchevel's been in good shape too this week, snow-wise. It's pretty decent. I mean, decent on-piste conditions, considering we had a bit of snow actually at the beginning of the week. So it's held up really well. And the whole area is open. We even skied down to St. Martin de Belleville the other day, which was fine. I mean, it was a bit brown around the piste down there, but it was fine.
Yeah.
And it hasn't felt insanely pity either.
Really?
I think Courchevel 1650 isn't. I mean, we've had some of the runs to ourselves. I'm not kidding. This week, you'd think half term, we've maybe, the odd 10-minute queue here or there.
Okay.
Which is pretty much it. We maybe had one longer one, like 15-minute queue. That was it. It has been good. I've heard a few stories about some of the bottlenecks this week that were a little bit worse than that, but we've avoided that. We've been skiing every day, all day. So
did you folly deuce it? Have you folly deuced it with your daughter? Was she dancing on tables?
Yes. Just to have to say, my daughter is 14, so certainly no alcohol was involved. But dancing on tables was, and she's into season air training for my daughter there. She really got into that. There's a lot of influences around. More influences, I would say, than normal people. Everyone looks like a model. Dressed in, I don't know, Gucci, probably.
Probably.
Phones, constantly capturing the moment.
Yeah. And that was just Dan from SkiWeekends, was it?
Well, Dan, he's always smartly dressed and well turned out, is Dan, but I'm not sure I can picture a big Gucci. Maybe.
I think I probably could. Well, that's good. That's a good week, Rob. We're going to have to get Emily and my daughter out skiing at some point because I think they'd probably have some good fun together. I think they're quite like-minded on that front. So I know we tried for this week and it wasn't going to work because I wasn't around. But well, in fact, she wasn't off school. She's off school next week when she's on her ski trip to Italy, somewhere in Italy with her school. Her school. So yeah, the weeks didn't work out, unfortunately. But there you go. So time to mention today's sponsors, Ski Independence and Canada's Alberta. So the team at Ski Independence have been sending customers to Alberta ski resorts for almost 30 years. With oodles of personal experience, they know all about the best places to stay, the best travel options, and everything in between. From Banff's best après-ski locations to breathtaking scenery at Lake Louise, or how to get the best out of a multi-centre itinerary. They highly recommend road tripping up the spectacular Icefields Parkway between Lake Louise and Jasper for an experience like no other. So, listeners, go ahead and visit ski-i.com/Alberta to find out more about booking Canada's Alberta with tailor-made specialists, Ski Independence. Banff, Alberta.
Those words are rubbing off on me every week, Dom, and more sinking into my subconscious. I'm waking up at night going Banff, spectacular Icefields Parkway between Lake Louise and Jasper. Sort of getting these visions, and it's obviously working for me.
It's working. It's working. On to the news this week. What have we got? Rob?
Right, Dom. Okay, I've picked up on a story here. Highly regarded skiing journalist and editor of In the Snow, of course, Patrick Thorne. He picked up on the fact that there was a load of articles appearing in national newspapers. Let's be honest, are a bit misleading. I don't think it's helpful looking for ski resorts that are very small, like ones no one has heard of, in low-lying areas, not even in the Alps, right? And then hooking it to some kind of myth that all ski resorts right now have little or even no snow. I mean, that's kind of the impression that people are getting. And I can tell you here that in Courchevel, there's a lot of snow, certainly above 1,500 meters. Let's just be clear about that. There's a lot of snow. I can tell you that last week when I was in Crans-Montana, there's a lot of snow, again, above 1,500 meters, but that's the ski area. And the week before I was in Avoriaz, and guess what? There's a lot of snow above 1,500 meters.
Yeah, it's funny. I got a call from somebody at a BBC station. I can't remember which one it was, one of these BBC Worlds of some kind. And she said, I wonder if you could help me with details about ski conditions in the more popular British resorts, is what that was what it actually said. And I said, yep, no problem at all. And I gave her a statement about how early season was really good and the snow's holding up below a certain level. It's not so good at the moment because we are experiencing some slightly warmer temperatures. And then she sent me a link to this really tiny, obscure German resort that I had never heard of and said, can you please make comment about this then, based on what you've just said? And I went back and I said, I was really quite abrupt. And I just said, number one, your question was, can I make comment about the popular ski resorts? I've never heard of this place and I've been in the business 20 odd years. And I said, number two, if what you're looking for is just a story about a resort with no snow, you will find plenty. There are plenty of tiny little places that no one's ever heard of that have got one lift that only locals ski on, and it's more like kids going sledging. You're going to find those if that's what you want. If that's what you're looking for, got it. That's fine. But yeah, below 1,400 meters, I suppose, unless it's artificial, there probably is going to be slightly less snow around. That's not everywhere, but in a lot of places, because there has been that sort of slightly increased temperature over the last few weeks, and there has been a bit of plenty of precipitation, but the temperatures haven't been there. So we get that, but certainly above that sort of 1,500-1,600 meters, I speak to a lot of people that go skiing, and everyone's coming back and going, it's great. You maybe can't ski right to the base, or you might be on artificial, but overall, snow conditions above 1,500-1,600 is good.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Last week as well, I was also quoted in the Mail online, which was fine. No problems with that. I was asked. I have no issues. I was given the opportunity to provide some balance to an article. Great. Which I was totally happy about.
Yeah.
And it was again picking up on snow in the middle of Italy somewhere, the lack of it. But hopefully that balanced out a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I was on the BBC. I was on BBC as well, radio last week, because suddenly there's a news strand out there suggesting that skiing is now more dangerous. Right? Can we go into that one as well? Can we go into that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because a press release that was sent out, frankly, it twisting a bit of data. I'm just going to say that it's twisting a little bit of data. A lot of things do twist data, and again, yes, there are issues with speed and collisions. There are issues with people going too fast. Fortunately, this week has been all right, actually, in the Three Valleys. I've seen 2 or 3 people that I thought, hang on a second, that's just out of order. But in a whole week, that's okay, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But when I drill down into this data, there's a couple of recent seasons where collisions have gone up, right? Mm-hmm. But then I drilled down even more. Overall, accidents have not gone up. Yeah. And suddenly there's all this stuff about accidents are increasing. Yes, collisions are definitely have increased the last 2 seasons, right? Why is that? They have increased a bit. It's just it worries me. There's a lot of newspaper articles saying that skiing is too dangerous. I mean, of course skiing could be dangerous. I mean, it's not. It is not a sport that's 100% safe. In the end of the day, we are strapping a couple of planks of wood on our feet and we're hurtling down a hill with a load of other people. It is not going to be 100% safe. But then, horse riding, skateboarding, BMX biking, mountain biking, like if we recorded every time somebody fell off their bike and grazed their chin or whatever when they're mountain biking, there's hundreds of them. I mean, at the end of the day, sure,
it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be 100% safe, and that's the case, and it isn't. And then just lastly, back on the snow thing, because I'm going to pick up on something. BBC Ski Sunday presenter Ed Lee, who is a great guy and a fantastic presenter, just going to get good stuff in because he is, and fantastic. But here's the thing: he said on the Ski Sunday a few weeks ago that last season was the first time there was no snow in the Alps.
Really?
That wasn't the case. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the Alps last season, and I can honestly say saw quite a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Even in the worst of it around New Year, nobody that I knew that booked a skiing holiday in the Alps didn't actually go skiing because of the lack of snow.
Right. And the end of season as well. Last season, at the end of season, we had really good conditions. Really good conditions at the end of season. And it drives you mad when people say stuff willy nilly. I mean, obviously, it is what it is. It's the weather.
It is. I mean, let's make this very clear. This is not about denying the fact that the climate is changing and we have a war. We have some strange weather going on. There's no doubt. We are not trying to say that the climate is changing, but just at least let's be truthful about the situation and not try and take some crazy press release about a ski resort in Italy and then link that to the fact that no one's going to be able to go skiing in the Alps. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point. It's just reporting the facts and being honest about it rather than sensationalizing something that, that may not be actually happening. I think it's just, you've got to be straight about these things. And
it just feels like there's a little bit of I don't think skiing is the only thing that's being kind of attacked. I've noticed this trend in other places and other areas as well, but it does seem like there is a bit of niggling going on.
When I was in Sun Peaks, this might help, Rob. When I was in Sun Peaks, I was speaking to a lady who lived there, one of the only 1,200 inhabitants. And she said, snow's terrible this year. It's absolutely awful. And I said, really? I've had a really good day. Well, down our driveway, normally to drive into our driveway, the snow is 4 meters high either side of her car. And this year it's only 1 meter. Yeah,
sure. No, look, certainly we've got to look ahead at the future, and if the trend continues, then. But we're just trying to balance things out a little bit.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's move on. We've got some more news stories here.
What else have we got? Mickey's Mountain Miles, Rob. What's that all about?
Yeah, I'm just going to name drop here because last week I skied with Rugby World Cup and England legend Mike Tyndall.
Oh yeah,
Like Gloucester legend too.
Yeah.
Super nice guy actually, and he was warming up for a charity event that he's organising in Saalbach in Austria.
Okay.
The first week of March. Check it out. Mikeys Mountain Miles, which is Mikey. Mikeys. It will be a great event, I'm sure, and anyone can take part, providing you've got a team of 4. You're prepared to donate to 2 charities that are being supported: Wings for Life and the Matt Hampton. They're both charities that specialise in helping people that have suffered life-changing injuries through sport.
Okay.
The rental company Ski Set is sponsoring that event too, and Mike puts out a special discount. He puts it on his social media post. If you check his Instagram channel, he puts out loads of discounts on that for those guys. Check that out. So yeah, Mikeys Mountain Miles.
Very nice. Like the sound of that. And then we've also got the International Ski Patrollers Day.
Yep.
I was going to sing that because I listened to Chris Evans in the morning. International Ski Patrollers Day. Helly Hansen launched it. It's International Ski Patrollers Day on February the 10th. So, oh, crikey, that's just gone. But yeah, very cool. They're helping to highlight the work that mountain professionals do keep us safe on the slopes. Very, very important people. And it's a great initiative. It showcases the fact that these mountain professionals, they're not just ski patrollers, but they obviously wear Helly Hansen kit, a lot of them as well. And the Helly Hansen website actually has a great page all about the Ski Patrol Day. And yeah, really, really nice that they're absolutely putting a spotlight on ski patrollers, the unsung heroes of keeping us all safe on the mountains, for sure. It's a massive job. If ever you've had a chance to ski out with the ski patrollers in a resort, it's easy just to think that they have a great life skiing around all day, but actually it's one serious job, morning, noon and night. And yeah, it's great to celebrate their hard work.
Yeah, actually, a couple of years ago, I went out with the ski patrollers in Glenshee in Scotland.
Oh yeah,
with Helly Hansen, and spent a day with them.
Yeah,
checking, helping them out and helping them with their job. Let's say for a
yeah,
day.
yeah.
That's pretty amazing what they do.
Yeah.
Next news story. It's a bit of a sad one. We've heard the news that family ski operator Esprit will cease to trade at the end of the season after 40 years.
Wow.
Esprit, owned by Hotel Plan. They also own Ingham's, and we know that Hotel Plan is being sold by its parent company Migros, a Swiss supermarket giant. I mean, to me, it looks a bit like a classic stripping down the sort of areas that don't maybe work so well, but it's sad to see it. It's worrying that Esprit can't make it work. I mean, funny enough, I had a conversation in the chalet last night with the people here, families staying in the chalet, and they had been skiing with Esprit, and they said fantastic things about that company. They were, very sad to hear they didn't know, and I told them, and they were like, "Oh, I can't believe it," because they were so good.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
it is a shame. I'm guessing, as you say, it's a business thing in terms of, like you say, probably stripping out anything that's not making enough profit and selling off the more profitable areas, and probably absorbing that whole Esprit offering into the wider Hotel Plan. I guess it is a real shame when you see a brand like that that's been around for decades that suddenly won't be around anymore. So that's a real shame. I mean, we probably can all remember seeing the kids flying down the slopes with Esprit bibs on, like when they're in the ski school and that.
Yes.
Yeah, real shame. Real shame.
Yes, Dom. So this week's weather roundup is brought to you by SkiWeekends, the flexible ski holiday experts. Choose from 10 fantastic catered chalets and over 100 hotels in 40 resorts. You can stay as long as you like with SkiWeekends.com.
I'll take 30 days, please, Ski Weekend.
Yes. I'll take all week, every single weekend of the ski season, and just bolt on the middle bits too.
Yes, exactly.
That'll do.
Yes, Rob, indeed. Sponsored by SkiWeekends for the weather this week, but also we've got a fantastic competition from SkiWeekends where you can win a 3 or 4 night stay for 2 adults in a SkiWeekends 3-star classic catered chalet. And it includes return airport transfers to Geneva Airport. Did I say transfers or transfers? So that includes return transfers to Geneva Airport as well. So don't forget to head over to inthesnow.com/competitions. Very easy question to answer. How many chalets does SkiWeekends have in Avoriaz? Head over there, answer the question. Let's now see what the weather's got in store for us from SkiWeekends. I'm going to tell you about the snow conditions as it is right now. So, Rob, Three Valleys, give us a quick meltdown on the Three Valleys. Don't say melt in this sentence. What is going on in the Three Valleys right now?
Okay, so here in the Three Valleys, French Alps, obviously, I'm going to say that conditions are pretty good considering the winter we've had, you know, which has seen all these fluctuating temperatures. Anything above 1,600 meters is absolutely fine. And in fact, above 1,800 meters, there's a lot of snow because we've had precipitation this winter. It's just too often fallen as rain below 1,500 meters.
And participation.
Did I say participation?
No, you said precipitation, but we've had participation as well.
We certainly have. You know, what resorts that have the resorts that have got skiing below 1,500 have done so well is to maintain the pistes, you know, with artificial snow, maintaining those runs so that getting back to resort is still possible. It is spring-like here. It's a bit spring-like right now. I've got to say. But the mid to long-term forecast is very interesting, right? Huge drop in temperatures as we go towards the end of the month and into March. Significant snowfall down to lower levels as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
I've been looking at the weather over the last few days, and it looks like that's going to hit the whole of the Alps across the board. So genuinely seems like March is going to be a good one.
Yeah, well, that happened last year. I remember last year, like March was really good, you know. So also over in Leger, over 30 centimeters expected over the next 7 days and more after that. And once we hit February, sort of later February, 22nd, 23rd, temperatures are really dropping and the snow will be well below resort level. So that's, you know, that's really good. Similar situation in Switzerland where we'll see resorts in the valley regions such as Verbier, Crans-Montana, Salzwedel get colder and regular snowfalls there down to resort level over the coming weeks. So that's really good to see as well. We're talking about maximum daytime temperatures going from around +5 to -5 and nighttime temperatures down to about -15 or colder. So actually good to see that, you know, those forecasts, we could end up with slightly later seasons. There seems to be a bit of a pattern forming. Colder weather and snowfall return to the Pyrenees at last. Most should see at least a foot of snow, 30 centimetres to you and me, Rob, by Monday. Spain's Formigal looked pretty good in the pictures, so that's pretty good as well. So, yeah, bit of positive news out there, you know?
Yes, and actually I was looking at Austria as well. I mean, over in St. Anton and even further east in Austria, it's looking more interesting as well. I mean, I think I'd say some resorts have decent conditions, certainly higher up. And snow has generally held up well compared to the sort of some of the other areas in the Alps. But the key thing is significant snowfall is forecasts, and Anton is saying over 73 centimeters over the next 7 days. So over in Italy and looking at the Dolomites, let's take Cortina. It's a slower start there, but again, temperatures will drop around February 22, 23, and snow is coming. So perhaps not the quantities of the Northern Alps. It's likely there'll be days when it snows a lot towards the end of the month.
Well, so, it's got to be good news. I mean, if the forecasts are correct and they think less, you know, it must be because it's across the board changes, then March is going to probably be a pretty good month for skiing, like it was very early in December when we had those big dumps of snow very early on this winter. So Norway, that's looking good as well. Temperatures consistently below freezing. So that's nice conditions across the board in Hafell, and they've had another 20 centimeters forecast over the next week. Just seems to keep getting topped up there. Mørkdalen in the west of Norway is forecasting over 50 centimeters in the next week. Keeps on coming, just keeps on coming. So there's a big base and more snow on its way there in Norway.
What about North America, Dom? You've just been there. What's it looking like?
My time to shine here. So I'd say conditions in BC this winter, from what I've seen, they're not what they normally expect, but from European standards, as far as I was concerned, it was still pretty good. We had snowfall while I was there, so I got pretty lucky. We had 4 days of constant snow day and night, so that was good. So I don't think it's going to be the big bragging British Columbia massive stashes year. They are definitely down, I think, by about 30 or 40% in most resorts. But to be honest with you, I never saw any grass, mud, slush, ice, didn't see any of that. I had nothing but good skiing. But I know just before I got there, they had experienced a sudden spike in temperatures. And, you know what locals are like, you know, they know the mountain so well. They're used to seeing meters and meters of snow. If it isn't meters of snow, they're not happy. We were very happy. And then, so that was Sun Peak specifically I was talking about there. When I went on to Revelstoke again, it didn't look as, you know, as full of stashed up powder as they would normally have. And they said, you know, we have experienced different conditions this year for sure. But all the skiing I did there, I didn't ski right down to the base station. I definitely didn't do that this time. And I know that that was still possible, but it was sketchy. There's no two ways about it. That was getting sketchy down low. But up the mountain, bloody hell, there was just heaps of snow. So there was absolutely no problem with that. So yeah, no problem out in a, like I say, I think it's expectation. British Columbia, normally they expect these massive powder dumps, and they haven't had as much this year. Similar situation in Vail, Colorado, where they've had about 20 centimeters of snow coming in the next couple of days, and then a mix of snow and sunshine showers going forward. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. I know that California's having a bit of a good time at the minute. They seem to be having it away, so they've got plenty of snow. Utah and other pockets of Colorado have had some heavy snow still falling. I think some places saying up to a foot in Jackson Hole last week. So it's got to be good news. Jackson, that's the place to be, sounds like.
Actually, I'm just mentioned Japan because it's business as usual there. Looks like decent conditions in Niseko. More snow forecast for this weekend, for a bit of warming coming into the next week.
Okay.
And then cold temperatures again going forward. A similar situation down in Huckabee, although it will get quite warm there in the next few days. But again, more snow after that, almost a meter in the next 7 days, they're saying. So they seem to be having a decent season.
Yeah. So to be fair, if we're going to look at a worldwide situation, it is quite all over the place. And, the weather is the weather at the end of the day. I mean, how many people report the headline that if you go to Tenerife for a week and it rains all week, nobody's jumping on a headline for that. In the end of the day, the weather is the weather. I think overall across Europe, let's face it, we have seen in the last few seasons that later snow coming in March. That seems to be becoming a bit of a pattern, and it looks like it could be a pattern this year as well. So is that such a bad thing? Not really. I mean, quite happy to go skiing in March as I am in January or February.
Shout out today to our friends at the Snow Centre Hemel Hempstead, London's closest indoor real snow slope and the largest trainer slope in the country, with a team of highly qualified ski and snowboard instructors running private and group lessons for all ages, a huge 160-metre main slope, family snow fun with the Ringo slide and an alpine-themed bar and restaurant. There is something for everyone. Visit thesnowcentre.com for more.
Light's gone. I'm going to change these lenses, people.
Onto the gear section. So we were at Slide not long ago, and the ski test as well, as we've talked about in the past. So we've been looking at some of the latest kit ready for next season. So what have we got first? We thought we'd look at this new innovation from Rossignol, the new boot.
Yeah, really interesting.
Well, we did a video on YouTube about this. Anybody wants to go and check it out, it's on In the Snow Mag YouTube channel. Went live, and within 3 days, I think about 65 comments and 2,000 views. It's clearly a popular subject, Rob. How the easiest ski boots to put on and off. You're famous.
Well, the Rossignol Vision ski boot. As you said, we came across this boot from Rossignol. It's called Vision, spelled with a Z, so Vizion.
Yep.
Really neat concept where a specially designed back panel opens up to make it super easy to get what is a traditional 4-buckle boot on and off.
Yeah.
So if you want performance, because they even have a 130 low volume version of this boot, with the ease of getting a boot on and off, like super easy, right?
Yeah.
Then this is definitely the answer. They look great. We tried them on. They really do make life easier. Like you said, keep an eye. Well, look at the
YouTube video. I mean,
really clear.
It's interesting because
that works.
Yeah, a lot of the comments were, "How is this different from a touring boot? How is this different from a hiking?" And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, what I saw was the fact this isn't about pivoting from the ankle. This is about opening the entire cuff of the boot. So your foot just goes in and out like a pair of slippers, wasn't it? I mean, that's essentially what it was about. It was about opening the entire cuff.
I mean, I know, I've got traditional 4-buckle clip boot, and a lot of people want that boot. But the challenge is for me sometimes in the morning, if that boot's cold, I'm struggling to get it on.
Yeah.
And getting it off can be quite painful.
Yeah.
It's just that's what you compromise those kind of things because you want the 4-buckle, that you want the performance. So what Rossignol have done with the Vision is that they've got the performance, they've got the 4-buckle boot, which a lot of people want, but they've just got this thing, it just makes it super easy to get on and off. So kind of like a no-brainer for like what you're not losing anything, you're just gaining that ease of
absolutely
getting it on and off in the mornings and the afternoons, which is okay. It's a small thing in a way because it's only in the morning and the afternoon that you're doing that. It's not like you're taking them on and off all the time.
Yeah, every lift.
Just why don't you have it? Why wouldn't you have it? Make it easier for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our next topic, Rob, we were going to talk about within the gear is shell versus insulated jackets and pants. So we decided to look at the differences between wearing a shell jacket and pants versus an insulated. What about you, Rob? What are you into, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a good question. It is a good question. It obviously depends on what I'm doing and where I am, right? Like, I do like an insulated jacket and pants when things get cold.
Yeah.
Let's say below -5, -6, kind of like I feel the cold a bit. I'd like to put something insulated on.
Yeah.
If I was ski touring, obviously I would definitely go for the shell option. And this week, because it's been quite mild, I mean, it hasn't been cold, like super cold here. I have worn a shell and a mid layer, and I've been able to take that off in the afternoons when it warms up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, similar. I don't feel the cold as much, so I do quite like the shell mid layer and sort of insulated jacket underneath, so that I can layer up and down as I want. I tend to prefer to get slightly chilly on a lift and then warm up when I'm skiing. So that's kind of, and I'm probably sort of anything down to about -8, 9. I'm probably pretty keen on a shell, and then once it gets into those 12, 15s, -15, then insulated the way to go for sure. So but I like the option of both.
I mean, I think that's true. It's why I think the shell has become so popular with skiers and snowboarders. That spend a lot of time in the mountains, because it does offer that flexibility. I mean, saying that, I have been skiing in very cold temperatures, let's say below -25, -30, and I can tell you what, a shell is no fun in that weather if you haven't got your layers right. You could wear a down jacket underneath the shell, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, -25, -30 is no fun for anybody. So I'd say at that level, I'm just staying indoors and going to the spa. But mind you, I went to Banff once and it was -42. I cannot believe. I mean, even diesel was starting to freeze in the diesel engine, so that was pretty serious. So I can tell you now, a shell wouldn't have been any good in that weather. But that was insulated jacket all the way. But there are some decent insulator options underneath a shell jacket. You get I've got a really nice micro down Helly Hansen. I don't think it's actually down, it's Leafer Loft. Super nice at keeping me warm. It's really thin underneath that shell, very, very slick. Surprised they don't do a pant version. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Like those nice puffy pants. Do they do those? Do Helly do those?
I don't know, but you can obviously get. What you mean? Oh, you mean not a shell? You mean like a mid-layer pant?
Yeah, like a Leafer Loft style pant. Imagine that.
With a shell over the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's an interesting one, because I can't think. You could probably get a mountaineering. You'd only wear that in its. Skiing, you'd only want to wear that if it was really, really cold.
Of course.
Right? I just like to feel warm and not cold. So I would have. I like an insulated jacket. I would tend to avoid down unless it's really, really cold. So synthetic insulation such as Primaloft is kind of typical.
Yeah.
And many brands have their own version of.
It's all about breathability, isn't it? Making something waterproof is the easy bit, but the breathability is the key, and that's super important with any kind of skiing and ski touring. You just want something that breathes well, because you want something that lets the moisture out at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. That's really key to this. That's why the shell option works so well for ski touring. I would say always start off feeling a bit cold on a ski tour. Right? If the weather is really cold, even if you start. Well, actually, especially if the weather's cold, you should start feeling cold.
Yeah.
Because if you start sweating a lot in cold weather, I'm talking about sort of, -10 and below, -5, when you're touring, you might get yourself into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
I made a bad error once, and it wasn't fun. I overdressed, started a ski tour. I was hot. The moisture, I had too many layers on. It didn't breathe properly. And what happened is the moisture inside my jacket froze. And I got mild hypothermia on top of a mountain in the middle of the night. Not nice.
No.
So you've got to make sure you get that spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, what we're saying here is there's a little bit of personal preference. I think I have seen more and more people wearing shells for that flexibility.
Yep.
I think in the last sort of season or two, I have seen more and more people wearing shells. And there is a bit of personal preference there, because some people run very hot and some people do run cold. And If you want that ultimate flexibility, then layering up is a good way to go. But for general skiing or for colder temperatures, then that insulated ski wear is definitely the way to go.
Where can we find out more about this, Dom?
Oh, what do you think I'm going to say, Rob? What about heading over to twinthesnow.com to our gear pages and our YouTube channel? There's always stacks of information about gear over there. In the Snow Mag on YouTube. We're nearly at 10,000 subscribers. I can't wait. Yeah, we've done really well. Can't believe how quickly that YouTube channel has suddenly grown. And as I say, we drop out a video, and a week later we get a couple of thousand views on it and loads of comments. So it's great to see that people are really really getting stuck into it. So what's next?
Moving on to our resort focus.
Yeah.
And this week, we're going to be looking at the Dents du Midi.
Dents du Midi.
It's basically the Swiss side of the Port Soleil.
Yep. Okay.
And did you know that the Dents du Midi mountain is the largest single mountain in terms of volume in Switzerland, possibly in the Alps, actually?
Wow.
It's absolutely massive. And I think it is in the Alps. It's a true monster of a mountain. You know, it's like it's got those sharp teeth thrusting upwards into the air. It is one of the most truly spectacular mountains in the Alps.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, I think when you're coming out of Geneva from the east, you can always spot it on a clear day just rising up. So it's pretty impressive. That's fair to say. What many people don't realize is the fact that you can stay on the Swiss side of the Porte du Soleil, and there's some good value accommodation over there too. So yeah, it's worth looking at.
Yeah, true. I think you'd be surprised actually what you can get on the Swiss side. If you'd rather spend euros for lunch, then you just drop over onto the French side anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at the resorts, because there are quite a few, aren't there? What do we got? There's Chambéry. Chambéry is probably the most well-known. It's tucked away at the end of the valley lower down. You can ski back there when the snow's good, but there's also a great cable car link too. And then you've got Le Creuset higher up. Very convenient for skiing. It's quite small and compact with the choice of hotels and all of that. So yeah, there's a couple of good ones. What else we got, Rob?
Champoussin is another one. Very quaint little Champoussin is a good value accommodation actually for Switzerland. It's a great option if you want to do Switzerland at a sort of lower cost point, I would say. Yeah. And then there's Morgin, of course. Morgin, close to the border with the French town of Châtel on the other side of the border. They're the main ones. I mean, you can stay in some of the other villages through the Iliès Valley. Great spa down there in Iliès, Val d'Iliès, I think it's pronounced. A car would be useful if you do that. But yeah. You know, I think it's a great option for the Port Soleil area. I mean,
stay in Switzerland, ski over to France. Who'd have thought that, eh? What a nice way.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually a great website where you can check all the information out about the region, the Dents du Midi area on the Swiss side. It's just, you know, www.regiondentsdumidi.ch. So region Dents du Midi, all in one word, .ch.
Perfect. We'll stick that in the comments as well. So to make sure people can link to that, regiondentsdumidi.ch, and we'll stick that in the comments so you can link to that and check out that area.
Great. I also had a little bit of a look at, you know, accommodation options for that region. Ski Line have got a good deal. They operate and they sell holidays to Chalet Mountain Lodge in Le Creuset.
Okay.
It's 4-star chalet hotel. So it's smart, you know, it's nice. It's a big sort of chalet hotel, sleeping up to 50 guests. Ski in, ski out, hot tub, sauna, steam room, all that kind of stuff. And you can get 7 nights from just over £1,000. So for a 4-star hotel in Switzerland with food, right? You know, through the week, that's per person, but still it's a pretty good deal. So that's with Ski Line.
So you can check that out at skiline.co.uk. I'm not going to do all the forward slashes, but what I will do is I'll put that long link in the comment in the description, so you can click on that and check that out. Right, what's next, Rob? Bucket list.
So, Dom, our bucket list destination this week is Sun Peaks, because drum roll. You have just been there, so it's clearly a tick for you, but I want to know why me, or frankly anyone else, should consider going to Sun Peaks.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. I mean, I would say, you know, I really enjoyed it. I'd say it's definitely a bucket list destination. I have to say, oh God, why didn't I haven't answered that bit, have I? Can't believe I left that out. Right. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Rob. I mean, British Columbia, at the end of the day, it's on everybody's bucket list, then, isn't it? And Sun Peaks is somewhere that actually quite a few people, I was surprised, hadn't even heard of it. It's a bit of a hidden gem. It's a bit of a different one, and it's relatively easy to get to. You can fly straight into Vancouver, and it's about a 3.5 hour drive the other end to get there, which sounds like a lot, but obviously that's like a Tina of Val d'Isere at the end of the day from Geneva. So, but obviously you have got the 9.5 hour flight just before it. But yeah, I'd say it's quite a hidden gem. If you like that, I mean, there are a few steep and deeps there, but in the main, it's a big cruisy area that you can just absolutely race around, lovely gladed runs, and I do think it's a bit of a hidden gem. It's completely ski in, ski out. I'll tell you more about that a bit later because I know you've got some questions to ask me. But yeah, I definitely think you arrive and you feel like you've arrived somewhere that no one else knows about, and you shouldn't tell anybody about it. And that's the feeling it gives you for sure.
So what's the sort of size of the area then?
Well, Rob, it's massive. It's the second largest ski area in Canada. We're talking 4,000, just over nearly 4,300 acres of skiing. That probably doesn't mean a lot to European skiers because we don't really measure stuff in acres like that. But we're talking about 139 trails. It's a big area, second only to Whistler. So it's a big area.
So, I mean, I suppose this question is, who is the area? Who is best suited, for going there? Who would you say should go to ski?
Yeah, so you don't get that big mountain feel. So you don't get that sort of Three Valleys feel or the dramatic sort of Matterhorn feel. You don't get that. I have to say that's probably one thing that I would probably say is, I don't know, I suppose a negative, if you like. So you don't get those sort of dramatic peaks and incredible views, but you do get great views. You just don't have that massive mountain feeling, and which I think you got more of in Revelstoke when I went on to Revelstoke. The ski area is really great. It's very varied. It's very big. It's very quiet. The great thing is 0 queues. Pound a day, snowed all night, snowed all day, snowed all night the next night. The next morning, Saturday, when people can come up from the local city, Kamloops, you think, okay, it's going to be busy. I came out of my hotel. I literally stepped out of reception, clipped my skis on, skied down through the town to the lift. How many people? About 15. People moaning that they've got to queue because there's 15 people in the lift.
Oh, really?
So, and we've got to bear in mind, we are in school holidays here, we're in half term. So I think at their maximum capacity, you get 10 hectares of skiing per person. So you are regularly skiing without seeing anybody. So if you want to get away from those crowds and you want to have a lot of skiing and you don't want to be queuing to get onto lifts and you want to go around some lovely rolling fast blues, I suppose red are equivalent, fast blues and reds, and they've got lots of greens as well, it's definitely for you. So I would say, I mean, I would regularly ski for 10, 15 minutes without seeing anybody. And on those powder days where we did have a foot of snow overnight, I mean, it got to 11 o'clock, I was still getting fresh tracks. I mean, where do you get that?
Yeah.
So if I was to ask directly, like, who is this best for? I'd say definitely sort of families, maybe some beginner skiers, intermediates, great, because there's lots of these lovely rolling reds, blues, greens. And yeah, there is a few of the steeper diamond black stuff, but I'd say that the area is dominated, by that sort of stuff. I don't really like to say that every resort is for every skier. I do think you should, and the same for gear as well, same for skis and everything else. I think you need to be specific about who these are best for. And I think sort of those intermediate skiers would have a fantastic ski break here. You can race around all day, have a great time and virtually see nobody else. So yeah, really good.
And what about the actual resort then? Or if you want to call it a resort, is it kind of a good vibe? Is there any après going on? I mean, I guess in that respect, it's probably not quite like Whistler, right?
No, it's definitely not a Whistler, but I mean that in only a good way. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a Whistler. The whole ski resort is ski in, ski out. So you ski straight through the middle of the village. So in amongst people walking in and out of restaurants and shops, you're skiing straight through the middle of them, a little bit like your sort of Art 1950. And in fact, if I took photos and told you I was in Austria or France, you would absolutely believe me. It's all these lovely multicolored buildings and it's very village-like. It's got a very French Austrian feel about it in terms of those type of buildings. Loads of drinking places. I mean, a disproportionate amount of places to eat and drink compared to the size of it, which was fantastic because you really can find a bar or a food place for every single need. And I'm genuinely saying that. I mean, if you want sushi or steak or Italian or pizza, Japanese, they literally had everything. So yeah, a really good cultural mix there as well. There was a lot of New Zealanders, Australians, South Africans in abundance. super nice. I don't think I've ever spent so much time on chairlifts talking to strangers, and it was really nice because they wanted to tell you about their local mountains from home. They wanted to hear about European resorts. There was a lot of questions about European resorts. So yeah, a real sort of friendly vibe going on. And when you're sitting down for beers at the bottom of the mountain, they don't do the dancing on tables. The North Americans and Canadians just don't do it, do they? They have a few beers, a game of pool, and they're watching the ice hockey.
Maybe a bit of live music.
Yeah.
In the
Now
background.
and yeah, this is definitely lower key than maybe the Austrians and the French, but it's different and I like it. I've got to say, yeah, really nice, a very sort of personal, friendly, yeah, and a bit of a hidden gem. And when it comes to that après, just different.
Yeah, okay. I like that. I like that as well. You know, they always got a great selection of beers, haven't they, in those bars in Canada and the US.
Absolutely, yeah.
Any top tips then for the best ski run there, or maybe some sort of off-piste stuff, if you know what I mean? Like off-piste in America Canada is different, but you know, or maybe a day of heli skiing in the area. Is that possible?
Yeah. You can do heli skiing there. So 5 mile is perfect for improver beginners. It's a big, long, guess how long it is, Rob? 5 miles. And it literally goes right from the top of the mountain to the bottom. So it was really nice. That's easily accessed from the first chairlift out of town. So that's quite nice. You can head up the Sunburst Express. You can literally go top to bottom, 5 miles down. And you really do feel like you've experienced the mountain, and any beginner or intermediate can do that. And that's really nice. Chris, yeah, it's quite a nice feeling. The Crystal Bowl is accessed the same way, so that's really nice for more advanced skiers. And there's a bunch of Diamond Black runs off there, which are really great from when the snow is in. We didn't have as much snow when we were there. It was still good, but not as much snow to enjoy those sort of the real steeper Diamond Blacks. And Diamond Blacks always sounds a bit threatening, but actually that's just it's a pretty fast red in Europe. Certainly not something for people to be put off by. Yeah. And then on the other side of the resort, and I say the other side because it's across the road, but actually you ski straight underneath the road. I don't know what it was. Nobody was seen to be going over there. It was crazy. So this is called the Morrissey Mountain, still part of some peaks. Crazy that people aren't
going down in a humdrum town on that side of the mountain.
Say again?
That was a Smith's reference.
Yes, I heard that. It's crazy that no one's going over there. So it's slightly, so you ski, you come out of the main resort lift, you turn right, you head down Rambler, and you take a left, which means nothing to everybody listening, but it kind of flattens out a little bit. So you have to kind of get into a bit of a tuck, you ski down underneath the road. I think people just can't be bothered. But my goodness, when you get up the other side to Morrissey, it's outstanding. And there is a lot more trees over there. Not that there's a lack of trees the other side, but there's even more trees over on the Morrissey side, which means that the visibility, if it is a bit cloudy, trees seem to get rid of that, really help with that visibility. And honestly, the runs over there, so well graded, such a lot of tree runs like Still Smoking, Out of the Woods. I don't know, I think one was called. It was such a lot of fun. Honestly, we could scream around there all day and just have super fun and little jumps next to the trees and all of that. It was just a great area, and I can't believe that so few people head over to that Morrissey side. I'm not saying nobody does, because there were people over there, but just not in the same volume. I guess people, they come out of the hotel, they ski down to the lift, and they stay on that area of the mountain, and they look across the other side and think, I can't be bothered to go over there. There's no need to. I mean, it takes about 7 minutes to ski across there, 8 minutes. The only drawback with that side is there isn't a mountain restaurant, and that's a bit of a pain, because obviously if you're skiing over there and you want a drink or something to eat, there is a little sort of cafe at the base in a tent, and you can go and get, or a marquee type thing. You can go and get the loo, and you can get a hot drink, and you can get a hot dog, but it's fairly minimalist. So if you want a proper lunch, it's a schlep to ski down, get up the other side, ski across the mountain. That's a pain in the ass. But, I'm really being picky here. I'm a pretty picky skier. So, really nice. Yeah, have I gone on enough? If you want to get full detail, can you believe, Rob, I've done a YouTube video on this. So it's not that I'm promoting the YouTube channel or anything, but I've done a full YouTube video on some peaks. It's already out, and I've been told it's really good.
Okay. I will check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, just drill down a couple of things, in the town. We've talked about town and that for a bit, but what about best restaurant and bar?
Yeah, so best restaurant and bar, great breakfast. I'll start off with breakfast. If you want a really big cooked breakfast, you can go to Cahilty's, where you can get oatmeal, you can get bacon and egg muffins. Really, really nice if you want to hold that sit-down thing. If you just want to grab a coffee and a smoothie and a pastry, places like Altitude and Balacho, really, really nice, and head there for lunch as well. They do some great lunches as well. That's kind of grab and go type stuff with some perched sort of tables that you can stand on. Mountain High, if you want a really great pizza, oh my God, their pizzas were absolutely incredible. You can buy by the slice or a whole pizza. Quite good value as well. It's not a sit-down restaurant. You can perch on a table and eat it there, or you can take it out in a box. The main places that people would head for lunch, because obviously they don't have so much of that mountain dining experience. They have got one place, Sundance Lodge, that you can have lunch on the mountain. But typical Canadian style, it's sort of that very burger, chips, mac and cheese, like the big food. Get sat down, eat food, get out. They're not like the French where they want to sit down and spend hours. You know, in the end of the day in Europe, we tend to ski so that we can have a long lunch, whereas here they just get lunch so that they can go and ski, and that's the most important thing. But most people would head down to Bottoms Bar and Massa's at the bottom of the main area. So really great lunches, great drinks, everything on offer that you could expect. You know, chicken wings and sliders and nachos. The bowl of nachos roll, but it was massive. It was the size of a small family car. It was ridiculous. Typical North American Canadian style. Yeah, as I say, food for them is just about getting energy ready to carry on skiing. So they don't stop for ages while they're having lunch. I'd also recommend the steakhouse if I'm allowed to go on a little bit more. The Sun Peaks Lodge Steakhouse, really nice.
Hungry, that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Oya Sushi, that was really nice. Not just sushi, it's a whole Japanese restaurant, super good. Capone's if you want Italian, Mantles if you want a big buffet. I could keep going on, Rob. This place had a lot of places to eat and drink. It was good.
A lot of places, maybe not too many people packing them out either.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. At worst, there was probably about, in the most busy restaurant, there was about a 5-minute wait to get a table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. How do we get there?
Yes.
Where can we stay?
Yes. So I went with Ski Independence tour operator. I flew out with BA. I went London to Vancouver and I chose to drive there. So about 3.5 hours from Vancouver, which suited me. You could, if you wanted to, get an internal flight to Kamloops, and then you can get an easy sort of shuttle transfer up to a resort that's about 30 to 40 minutes. But I didn't want to do all that sort of internal flights and everything else. I just wanted to jump in a car and get up there. So yeah, it's quite easy to get there. And in terms of where to stay, I stayed at Sun Peaks Lodge. It wasn't flash. It was kind of, I suppose, around about a Holiday Inn kind of standard. So it was really nice, warm, super comfy beds, great pillows. I mean, that's really important, isn't it? I hate getting sort of cardboard pillows where you can't sleep properly. Great bathrooms, great shower, helpful staff, underground parking if you have got your car there. It had do you know what? I like their boot room because it was very casual. But the great thing about their boot room is it was in a garage underground, super cool. You know, all those boot rooms that are all warmed and heated, and you go in there and you're just sweating your ass off when you're trying to get your ski boots on. And not if you've got the Vision boot, obviously. But you know, those really warm boot rooms, and by the time you get outside, you're already sweating. Whereas this boot room, nice and cold. It was like about cold. Yeah, it was a nice. Well, hang on a minute. It did have boot warmers for your boots. Yeah, so your boots were nice and dry and warm. But I'm talking about like when you're getting all your gear on and all that. It was nice and cool. So yeah, I like that. I like that. So Sun Peaks Lodge, right in the middle of the village. Step straight outside the door. Ski through the village, which most accommodation is like. You can stay further up the resort, still in Sun Peaks, condo style accommodation. That does mean you can ski down to the resort, but obviously in an evening, if you want to come down for dinner or something, I'm guessing that's probably a sort of maybe a 10 or 15-minute walk. I didn't do that walk. So you can do that whole condo style, and it's very, very attractive. I mean, you do feel like you're in the wilderness and you are ski out as everything is. So yeah. There you go. There is the Sun Peaks Grand, which did look a little bit more grand. I was wondering why I wasn't staying there, but I thoroughly enjoyed the Sun Peaks Lodge. I thought it was really, really nice. I was there with a pal, and he said the same. He came out and said, nothing flash, but blimey, it's great, isn't it? Beds are great, showers are great, everything you need.
Exactly right. Absolutely. Okay. And what about anything, you know, if you don't want to ski, is there something else to do? You're in the middle of British Columbia somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
You've got tons of skiing, but what else?
Yeah, you are on internal British Columbia, so you're right. You are away from everything. You do feel like you're away from everything as well. There's only 1,200 inhabitants here, so yeah,
Yeah.
it is it's small in terms of its feeling like that, but obviously like a big ski area. We did husky dog sledding. That was very cool indeed. Really enjoyed that. And I know there's been a bit of an uproar about
That's cool.
the looking after dogs and all of that. So we went into a lot of detail with the owners about how well the dogs are cared for and everything about them. So that was, again, a real wilderness feel that we call Mountain Man Adventures. It was a husband and wife team and about 40 dogs. And yeah, it was really, really nice. And it's right there in some peaks as well. So they pick you up in a van, quite smelly van, and they take you to literally a 6 or 7 minute drive away. That was fun. On the way back, she said to me, "Do you mind if I just pick my kids up from school?" Yeah, no problem at all. So we pull over to this kid's 10, 9, 10. We pull up at the school. She winds the window down. She shouts, "Is Bradley in there?" The kid goes, "What?" She goes, "Is Bradley in there?" He goes, "I'll just go and have a look." And he goes inside. Imagine this at school, Rob. You've gone to pick up your daughter. "No, he's not here." "What? He's not here? Where is he?" "I don't know." She goes, "All right." So she winds the window up and drives off. And I said, "Hang on a minute. If I went to pick my daughter up from school and I said, 'Is Jess there?' and they said no, we'd go into meltdown and we'd lock down the village." She goes, "Oh no, he's probably grabbed his skis, jumped into someone else's car without them knowing and gone skiing." That's the life. So yeah, they're the dog sledding people. That was a little bit of a byproduct there. But there's snowshoeing, there's Nordic skiing, there is axe throwing, Rob. I mean, axe throwing with cleavage axe company. Oh,
the axe
so
throwing
good.
thing. We keep talking about axe throwing, but I've never actually done it.
Oh,
Yeah. So
I tell you what a laugh. And the guy that was running it or hosting the evening, he had all the banter. Very, very funny. You can throw axes from 9 years old, and he would tell you exactly what you're doing wrong, and you can. It's incredible. It's proper rules and regulations. You're not just wanging these things around. He said, and I said, have you ever had an accident? And he said, "We've not had an accident yet." So it's a bit like
a pun.
exactly. An axe. Yeah.
What worries me about axe, if I got into axe throwing, is that then when I go to chop some wood, randomly, I'm just so used to throwing the damn things. I'm just going to pick the axe up and throw it somewhere at something rather than just, it's kind of like that habit thing, isn't it? It just scares me, throwing an axe.
No, you're throwing it at a proper like board. It's made of huge, great packs of wood, and it's got a target on it. I tell you what. Honestly, it's one of the best fun things I've done for après. It really was. And I mean, we sunk a few beers there and we're chucking these axes. And I tell you, I suppose it is a bit of a laddie thing to do, but there was loads there. There was families there. There was a competition going on between a family and the finalists, because obviously there is a little bit of fluke involved here. There was in the final of the family final on the axe throwing was a 9-year-old with their 80-year-old grandparent. And I mean, how good is that? That's how imbalanced it becomes. So yeah, plenty to do there. I digress, but yeah, a lot of fun. Very, very enjoyable.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to going to Sun Peaks one day.
Go to Sun Peaks, Rob.
To axe throw.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that is it for this week, Dom.
That's it for this week, Rob. You're in Courchevel. My next stop is Whistler.
I believe it. Yeah, back that way again.
Oh, I am. Goodness. I can't believe it. Yeah, and I think I'm going to be going to Palisades as well. That's another thing on the agenda. So yeah, it's a tough life here, Rob. I mean, it's pretty awful.
What is going on?
I know.
I'm back in the UK for the rest of February. I am going to Carinthia in Austria at the beginning of March.
Oh, hashtag jealous.
To.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Carinthia.
Yeah, it's a really nice. I have been to Carinthia before. It's very pretty. There's some really good skiing areas there, and I'm looking forward to that trip. It's just a few days, but I'm going to get to see some of the skiing areas of Carinthia, which is great. And then I'm going to pop in to Saalbach, I think, because it's not too far away, to plug into Mike Tyndall's Mikeys Mountain Miles for a day or two, just to see what's going on there. So that would be cool. And then, back to the French Alps, I think, in March, the middle of March, going to be in Teen. That's what I'm planning to do. So
perfect. I love it. So in the meantime, listeners, plenty of back catalogue there to listen to, all sorts of things. And we've got some great stuff coming up. Don't forget to listen out for the interview with Zach Carrick-Smith from last time. I know we missed the week last week, but lots going on. Don't forget to look out for the weather conditions, because it looks like the snow's coming to the Alps. Definitely a good time to be looking and booking your next holiday. And Rob, enjoy the rest of your trip. Enjoy your coach journey home. We will be in touch. Thank you for this week.
Cheers, Dom.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Mais non, talkie-walkie.
Pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.